And I think that is crucial to what we do. I believe that if the hope is killed in people, then there is no hope to get anywhere with the climate emergency and the climate crisis. And I can see that in my own community, reporting on environmental issues from here for the Iranian people. And it's so scary to see that in some of them, this hope has already been gone. And so enabling individuals to feel powerful and to feel that they can actually do something, no matter how small, that can create change, and that can then drive us to be informed and aware citizens to then want to demand our politicians. So people always ask me as a climate activist, but how big of an impact is when I just walk to work, or where I just when I just have a quick, brief conversation about climate? That's not the main goal of this. It's not that your carbon footprint will have a massive impact on a global scale, but it's to create that awareness that then allow you as an individual or as a citizen to demand the world leaders as a citizen, the business leaders as a consumer, to take action. And that is what we need. So I do believe that individual actions that way do make a massive difference when it comes to the global scale. So we are nearly towards the end of our event today, and I cannot let this event close without thanking the organizer and the curator of this event, the wonderful Versha Jones. Versha is a London-based freelance graphic designer, and she was trained as a climate reality leader in 2020. And these two worlds meet where she volunteers her time to research, write, and create messaging for social platforms, social media platforms, and organize events for Climate Reality UK. Her aim is to engage as many people as possible with the climate emergency. Please join me in welcoming Versha to the stage.
Hello. Thank you, Shooka, and thank you to all of the fantastic speakers we've had here today. And in response to your beautiful opening words, can I just say Zan Zandagi Azadi? Okay. When you roll up your sleeves and make a decision to do something you thought you'd never do, when you feel like your feet aren't quite touching the floor, that's when things happen. And I'd like to urge you to give it a go. Earlier this year, I traveled alone for the first time ever. I needed a break and some time to think. I rode from Paddington to Penzance on the overnight sleeper train, alone and totally out of my comfort zone. All I knew about my destination is that there would be puffins and palm trees. And when I arrived on the Isles of Scilly, a group of small islands off the Cornish coast, for anyone unfamiliar, I was met with blue sky, turquoise sea, quite the contrast to my mood, and I couldn't quite believe I was in the UK. Not wanting to sit alone in the hotel restaurant that evening, I booked myself onto a sunset sea safari. And the St. Mary's boatman crew are a knowledgeable lot, and the trip was full of excitement. Gannets, guillemots, seals lolloping on rocks, razorbills, a peregrine falcon, and the promised puffins. And I spent a couple of days island hopping and took morning walks on my local beach, Porth Cressa, on the southern side of an isthmus. Like many of us who holiday on UK islands and around our beautiful coastline, I felt that magical feeling of, do you know what? If I could guarantee the weather every time, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. There are 123 islands around the UK, 97 in Scotland, 19 around England, 6 in Wales, and Rathlin off the coast of Northern Ireland. And they're enjoyed by millions of us every year. We hold these places dear. And I might add, those few days of much needed escape weren't anything to do with climate change. However, my holiday reading, just to follow a theme, but this is true, just happened to be, this is not a drill, an Extinction Rebellion handbook. And I recommend it as a Christmas present idea or some inspiration about how to supersize your actions. So, as I glanced back to bid the islands farewell, the sudden realization hit me that their topography was totally flat as pancakes, and sea level rise would, in time, take these islands, along with the puffins, seals, and palm trees. Climate Reality's words rang in my ears, warnings of warming oceans creating harsher storms, and images of coastal flooding flashed through my mind. The following morning, I was back at my desk bright and early. However, my regular day job had to wait. I needed to know what adaptation plans were in place to safeguard their future. And after reading, researching, and trying hard to understand the bigger picture, I then started to become consumed by the fear of not being taken seriously. After all, this isn't my background. And even though I felt like they'd just say, "And who do you think you are?" I wrote an email to the head of environment and a councillor on the Isles of Scilly. And then I dared myself to send it. And amazingly, they agreed to meet on Zoom. With their generous time and patience in answering my many questions, I learned that they harvest rainwater for their farms, the importance of their sea defences to protect their freshwater supplies, about inadequate desalination technology, about a fear of a change in wind direction causing serious flooding during a spring tide. I learned how bad weather can cut off their freight ships from delivering pharmaceuticals and other emergency supplies. And it's a given that these ships get cancelled multiple times every winter. And through Linda, an islander, I've heard stories of coastal paths disappearing and garden gates that now swing open over cliffs. Structures and statues with deep meaning to the islanders that are at risk of being swept to sea. And each year, their resilience to these challenges is tested more. I came away from the meeting shocked and disillusioned. Yes, climate change is devastating faraway places where loss and damage funds are urgently needed to help protect the most vulnerable and marginalized communities on Earth. But it is also happening much closer to home. Why should these islands, near and far, be the alarm call for the mainland? These smaller island nations have contributed the least to this crisis, but are feeling its lash sooner and harsher. I felt I had to try and do something. This place had become special to me, but I didn't quite know how to help. Our government and decision makers must take accountability for the destruction of our climate system, accountability for the devastation happening globally as well as on home turf. They're not decarbonising our world to safeguard our future, or investing heavily and rapidly into renewable energy, or even simpler, energy efficiency. And where is this just transition for all? There is so much potential for change, but we're stuck with broken promises and empty words. So I made a decision to do something I thought I'd never do, and my feet weren't quite touching the ground, and they still aren't. But I started what I call my Islands Project, and I'll find a way to make it heard, and the document will be addressed to Downing Street. Our world needs to operate with radical honesty and with the actions of communities of determined people pulling together, just like the thousands that were out on the street today, and you all gathering here today, and people creating new futures like some of the work we've heard about this afternoon. This clarity that is desperately needed can and will filter through until it can't be ignored. And only then will this unthinkable trajectory change course. We must all learn to create a good life that doesn't destroy, but a good life that builds and protects the future. So listen to your communities and their relationship with nature and their environment, and step into that space that you might not normally do, and create action that you never thought possible. Just hold on to what you know, because that's when things happen, and I urge you to give it a go.
Versha, don't leave, don't leave. Put your papers down, Versha, you'll need some hands. So hi everyone, sorry to nick the attention a little bit away from Versha. We have a little gift for you because this lady has made an extraordinary effort since I've become UK coordinator, and especially in putting this and pulling this on today. Like, her work rate is unbelievable, and we just wanted to show you a little bit of appreciation while your focus is on you. So can everybody just give a big round of applause for Versha, please? I'll hand over properly again.
Wow. After listening to such inspirational speakers, thought leaders, and activists, it is my pleasure to make a few and short closing remarks and express gratitude to all of those who made this event a reality. Today, we achieved an important milestone, celebrating our network, inspiring action for a rapid and urgent transition to renewable energy, and promoting discussion around the very important topic of climate justice. If our planet and all the citizens of the world are to have a safe future, we must act together to rapidly cut global carbon emissions while lifting billions of people out of extreme poverty. We have seen today that we have the scientists, the business leaders, and the activists and the policymakers to make this happen. And we just need the politicians to simply act. I would like to thank all the amazing speakers on behalf of the organizers and the partners of this event. I'd like to give a huge thanks to Zsolt Bauer, Climate Reality European Branch Manager, without whom and without his support, this event would not have been possible. I'd like to also thank Climate Reality Europe and the wonderful Climate Reality UK team. Tim Elliott, Kat Smith, Brenda Ainsley, Oliver Payton, Amy Chapman, and David Chapman, core team behind the scenes who have met up weekly over the last 6 months for this event. I would like to also thank Bradley Martz Singala, Mark Chivers, and Yanis, I'm trying not to mess up the pronunciation, for running each of the forum sessions. And last but not least, our contact at London Business School, Ashta Singh, leader of the LBS Sustainability Club. Thank you so much. We wish you every success in your career. Thank you. And thank you all so very much for making climate change a global priority. Thank you.